साधलो लोपा।
हाँ, शुरू कीजिए। कीजिए शुरू महाराज।
आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल आ रही है।
हेलो।
हाँ हाँ, आ रही है।
करूं स्टार्ट?
यस यस यस।
Shall I start it?
यस यस।
वलितंतु समुत्थाना शरसा सदलोलोपा तपस्विनी तपसेदि तपसा सिद्धायनि ओ निष्ठा तपोयोक्ता तपसी च तपः प्रेया सप्तधातुर्मयी मूर्ति सप्तधातंतरा श्रेया देह पुष्टि मन पुष्टिर अनुपुष्टिर्बलोदता औषधि वैद्य माता च द्रव्य शक्ति प्रभावती वैद वैद्य चिकित्सा च सुपथ्या रोगनाशिनी मृगिया मृगमांसादि मृगतुंग मृगलोचना वागुरा बंधरूपा च वधरूपा वधोदता बंदी बंद सुताकारा कारा बंद विमोचनी। Get it up to end of the page. आगे पढ़ूं?
हाँ, दिस बस। नहीं, इधर तक करेंगे। हाँ हाँ, शेखर जी।
वलितंतु समुत्थाना।
Namaste. The Nama we
Shekhar
had
ji,
seen
namaskar.
previous session we had seen till the Nama Shadrasa Aswada Lolupa. So we have to start with Tapaswini today.
Okay, Tapaswini.
Yeah.
Which page? 14 page only.
Same. The first two Namas we have already seen in the previous session.
ठीक है, Tapaswini. हाँ.
So the Nama is
Tapaswini Tapasiddhi.
Yes.
Tapaswini Tapasiddhi.
Yes, sir. Tapaswini. Before we understand some of these namas which start with or which are rooted in the same formation of the word tapas, the etymological derivation of the word tapas comes from the Sanskrit dhatu tap, to burn. So the spiritual practices which a sadhaka undergoes are compared to the scorching fire. Just as the fire would burn, similarly, the sadhaka has to undergo or forego certain pleasures. When we say foregoing certain pleasures, this does not automatically imply that it is a form of an asceticism. No. It means giving up or coming out of our comfort zones. The comfort zones are at the physical, emotional, mental, intellectual levels. We all know that the tendency of a human is to find solace in his comfort zone. But tapasya is that process which helps us to come out of that so-called comfort zone, give the rigors, whether it is an intellectual rigor or a physical rigor, and put the sadhaka in a path oriented with a perspective for higher development. So that is why it is called as tapasya or tapas. So there is a lot of giving up certain personal comforts. So here Devi is called as Tapaswini because the beauty of our Puranic literature, though we find a lot of legends in the Puranic literature, the beauty of the Puranic literature is that it is a kind of a practical demonstration of all the high-flowing philosophy that the other texts, the darshanas, the Vedas preach. When we ask where is an example of how to follow, let's say, dharma, the very first question, or the Ramayana itself, opens in the form of a conversation between Valmiki Rishi and Narada. So the first question that Valmiki asks Narada is, Konvasmin Sampratam Loke Gunavan Kascha Viryavan, and he just goes on to make a list of all the noble qualities. He says, is there a person on earth who embodies these qualities? And as an answer to this enquiry, Sage Narada describes to Valmiki the entire Ramayana story in a gist. So that is the very first adhyaya of Valmiki Ramayana. So the Puranas are kind of a living example for the high principles that we see, or that we get to know in the darshanas and the shastras. So Devi herself showed the intensity of coming out of one's comfort zone in her incarnation as Parvati. We all know that in the earlier form of Sati, she gives up her body. She is born as a daughter of Himavan and Mena, and and then she performs penance in order to win over the grace of Shiva. And how she performs the penance, one of the best descriptions we will come across in the Kumara Sambhava Mahakavya of Kalidasa. He gives a contrast that as a princess, she was someone, there is a Sirisha Pushpa, no? There is a very delicate flower. If that flower were to be underneath her mattress, even that will cause discomfort to her. So that was the kind of luxury that she was used to. And the contrast is the penance. So during the summer, she would sit with 4 corners having blazing fire, and the sun becomes the 5th fire. It is called as a Panchagni Tapas. In the winters, she will be in neck-deep waters, the cool waters flowing from the Himalaya regions. Then she gave up food. She survived only on leaves. And even eating those leaves, she gave up gradually. So she got the name Aparna. We saw that Nama earlier. So the kind of intensity of tapas that is required in order to win over the grace of Shiva is found personified in Devi Parvati herself. So when we speak of her as a living example of how a person or how an ascetic should be, we have an answer. So when we say that Devi is Tapaswini, she is one of the foremost amongst those who have performed penance. So Tapaswini. Okay. We all perform penance in order to reach one higher purpose. Swatma, Sakshatkara, or anything. What is her purpose? Because she is Swatasiddha. No, she is the Vimarsha Shakti of Prakasha. So what is it? So the next Nama very delicately answers this question. It says, Tapasiddhihi. She is the result of all the penances. So she is only acting out the process for us. So there is nothing that she is going to achieve by that process per se, though the entire drama makes us believe that it is so, but it is something that it's a kind of an enactment of a play. Because she is the tapas siddhi. She is the siddhi, the measure of success for any tapas. Why? It is only through the grace of Shakti, one will be able to know Shiva. The very first shloka of Vijnana Bhairava gives this hint. So through Devi alone, we can know Shiva. For that matter, even the Prakasha knows itself to be Prakasha through Vimarsha. She is like the mirror. That is why in the iconography of Devi, especially the Ardhanarishwara iconography, though there are a few variants, on the Devi Bhaga, the side of Devi, she will normally be shown depicted holding a mirror. Mirror stands for her as the Vimarsha Shakti, through which the Prakasha knows itself to be. So she is the final beatitude of all the penance. So that is so she is the goal of all the penance. Tapas Siddhi. The next nama is Tapasi. Tapasi. The penance is looked at two levels. Like I said, it can be at the physical or at the more subtler levels, that is intellectual and the mental levels. So by the term Tapasi, it shows the attitude or the mental state of being which a sadhaka has to develop. So performing or undergoing tapasya is not merely putting up physical vesha. It is about change in the perspective. So it is more to do with the mental makeup. The very beautiful story of narrated by Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, wherein he speaks about one devotee and one Vaishya, a prostitute. So they both die, and they find that the Vaishya is in the Swarga and the devotee is in the Naraka. And the conversation ensures in the Yamaloka as to what happened or why. Because the whole of the lifetime, this fellow was engaged in all the dharmika activity, while as she was into all the immoral activities. How is it? And he said, in spite of that, she would always think how blessed that devotee is, because he gets a chance to do the kind of dharmika activities. And this so-called devotee, he would always be thinking about the Vaishya. So tapasya is more of a mental makeup. So tapasi is that mental framework which is essential for the sadhaka. So the physical activities have to be always be backed by the mental attitude. So the perspective shift has to happen in order to have the tapasya reach its proper culmination. So she is tapasi, that mental changeover which facilitates the tapasya. So she is tapasi. So she doesn't have to put up anything external. Internally, or that emotional frame or the mental frame of mind is what is most important. She's that personification of the perfect mental makeup. So tapasi. Tapah priya, one who relishes or one who enjoys penance. She herself has shown it in the form of an example. More so, she expects the sadhakas to constantly engage in the tapasya. When we say tapah priya, it is through the constant tapasya that we will be able to see, or we will be able to reap the benefits of the sadhana. That is why in Lalita Sahasranama there is one very, very beautiful nama which is Abhyasa Atishaya Jnata. Abhyasa, practice. Atishaya, something wonderful. Jnata, could be known. So she is one who makes know great wonders of philosophy through abhyasa, through practice. So she helps or she loves her devotees to engage in tapasya. So she is tapaspriya. Tapo nishtha. This is something that my Sri Guru used to always emphasize. He said, look, sadhana is not a part-time sojourn for you.
The order is little changed in this manuscript, so that is fine.
Oh, I missed out, is it? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
no problem.
I was not
But-
wearing my specs.
Yeah. But this is okay. So now you are taponishtha. That is fine.
Taponishtha. Okay. So, okay, yeah, fine. So sadhana is not something which we can take it up as a part-time, hobby. You cannot say, okay, today I didn't have time. Okay, I will do it whenever I have time, or whatever it is. This is no, that doesn't work that way. You will have to make excuse for how to do sadhana rather than how not to do sadhana. This is something that all great masters have repeatedly emphasized. Consistency. Sadhana flourishes in consistency. The time and others are immaterial. It is the intensity and consistency that is most important. So that aspect is emphasized in this nama, tapo nishtha. Nishtha means being firmly entrenched, being firmly established in it. So when that is the the center or the focus around which everything else is built, then automatically we will reorient our activities to suit sadhana. So we don't have to make adjustments. So the adjustment automatically happens in our other activities so as to facilitate the sadhana. So she is that quality of being established in the sadhana as a practice. So she is taponishtha.
Tapoyukta.
Tapoyukta. Yukta, yuj, to join. So one who helps in the final unity through tapas. So let us here distinguish between the interpretation of the word yoga according to Patanjali's yoga system and our Agama Tantra system. We all know that they are quite different because the foundation or the founding philosophy of the two are different. Patanjali's yoga system is based on the philosophy of duality, which recognizes Prakriti to be separate from Purusha. So their joining has a different connotation. There is a separate Jivatma, there is a separate Paramatma, and they join. So their yuj, to join or to yoke, has a different thing. In our philosophical system, there is no two entities. It is the very same Parashiva who, out of his own free will, Swatantriya Shakti, has assumed the contraction, the Sankocha, and he has become the Pashu. So here, how do we understand the term yoga? Here, to join is not joining the Pashu as an entity with Shiva as another entity. Here, yoga means to unite in the form that existed pre-contraction. That is, before contraction, the 5 Shaktis were in full flow. During contraction, they become Kanchukas, which veil the Swarupa. So, the joining here is shedding the contraction and therefore becoming what we were already there. So, it is more of, or I should not even say becoming, it is more of recognizing. So, tapo yukta. So, through the sadhana, one who helps us shed the misconceptions that we ourselves have created about ourselves, okay, and help us regain back our true or essential nature. So, she is tapo yukta.
Tapasi we have done. Tapasi we have done. Now it is Tapa Priya also done. Yes.
Saptadhatumayi murti.
Murti.
Saptadhatumayi murti. She who has the form made up of 7 dhatus. Dhatus are building blocks. That is why in Vyakarana, the term dhatu is used to refer to the root forms. It is these root forms by adding the other inflections, prefixes and suffixes that become into the so many thousands of words, whether it is nouns or verbs. So that building block is the dhatu. The same Sanskrit is a very peculiar language because to give a meaning for a particular word, we should definitely know the context. The normal example that is usually given is the word guna. They say that the word guna, you should know in what context it is used so that you can give the meaning. For example, if it is the context of a normal psychology or anything like that, then guna means qualities. The qualities of a person, that is the sattva, rajas, tamas. If it is speaking about a particular object whose qualifying nature we want to speak, for example, red flower. So that redness is a guna, an attribute to the flower. So there, guna means an attribute. If we are speaking in context of, let's say, mathematics, guna will mean multiplication. No, gunam, trigunam means 3 times. Then in context of dhanurvidya, archery, guna means a string. Okay, the bow string or any normal string also. So there is, we cannot give a straight translation or interpretation for these words. We should know the context too before we give. Similarly, the word dhatu. So in Vyakarana, dhatu is different. Let's use the same thing with respect to metallurgy. Their dhatu means ore, because that is the basic form which is available in nature from where we extract the metals. So that is dhatu. Similarly, when we in the Ayurveda, when we speak of the sharira, the body, it is said to have made out of 7 basic constituents, of which a few come from the father and a few from the mother. And the beauty of Sri Chakra construction is that it balances the father's and the mother's contribution in this dhatu. Okay, so that's another topic by itself. So Sapta Dhatu refers to the rakta, the majja, the asthi. So these are, there is the bone marrow, okay, the flesh, the bone, the blood, okay, the shukra, okay, all these, there are 7. So these are the dhatu. So when we speak of Saptadhatumayi Murtihi, it refers to the Sharira, the body itself. So she is the one who is presented as the bodies of all the beings. So here we shouldn't misunderstand to mean any other metallic figures of the Devata, because they are normally referred to either Panchaloha or Ashtaloha or Ashtadhatu. Okay, so here Saptadhatumayi Murti refers to Sharira. So she is the form of the body, because this body is as much the form of the divine as anything else is. So we are not differentiating some Atma as a core and the other koshas are external to Atma in our system. Here there is only one entity. So it has to be everything that you see. So it has to be the Sharira also. That is why in Sri Rudra, there is the Rudra Prashna of the Yajurveda. Towards the end, we have one Vakya which says, Ayam me hasto Bhagavan. This hand is Bhagavan. Okay, we can give multiple interpretations for this, but there are interpretations. But direct meaning is, Ayam me hasto Bhagavan. His hand is Bhagavan. Rudra himself is this hand. So this Sharira is Rudra. So she is that Sharira through which we have to perform the or which we have to use judiciously in order to reach the potency that we can attain. So all this is to show the importance of the blessings we have received in the form of the facilities, whether it is physical or intellectual or the socio-cultural, that helps us to evolve. So Saptadhatumayi Murti, she is in the form of the Sharira. Saptadhatvantarashraya.
Saptadhatuvantarashraya.
Yeah, Saptadhatu Antarashraya. Okay, she is the Sharira, fine. She is also transcending the Sharira. This is to be understood exactly how we understand Tattva-atitaha Tattvamaya. Parashiva is the 36 Tattvas, yet he is beyond the 36 Tattvas also. So when we say Saptadhatumayi Murtihi, we shouldn't start getting an impression that there is nothing higher than the physical Sharira itself. Then that becomes Rakshasa Upasana, wherein you start adoring the body. Give too much of importance to the body, the way the body appears, the way it it is idealized sort of thing. No. So it is her form, yet she is also everything else beyond the body also. So Saptadhatu Antarashraya, she is the one who is the substratum, who lives inside too. Inside in the sense is not any location specific reference here. It means that which permeates, that which is the substratum of everything denoted by the Saptadhatu, that is Sharira. So Saptadhatvantarashraya.
Deha Pushtir Manaha.
Deha Pushtihi. Pushti comes from Poshana. Poshana means nourishment. So Deha Pushtihi, she is the nourishment for the Sharira. So everything that is required for the nourishment of the Sharira comes from her. Either naturally, within, which is a kind of an organic process that happens inside the Sharira, or in the form of the external inputs, in the form of food, water, air, and other things. So she is Deha Pushtihi. So she is the one which causes the nourishment of the Sharira. So earlier we came across one Nama, Shakambhari. So this is with reference to an episode in Devi Mahatmya wherein there is a place where there is drought for hundreds of years. So all the people there, they go and pray to Devi, and she manifests there, laden with fruits and vegetables, with thousands eyes from where water is flowing, and it drenches the entire places and makes the whole land fertile again. So the river that flew out is the Malaprabha river in the northern Karnataka. So she is the one who nourishes the Sharira, because we require these food, water, and others for the nourishment of Sharira. So she is Deha Pushtihi. She is also at the level of the mind. So if body requires Poshana, what does the mind require? See what happens in, we go to the Ayurveda, very beautifully they give the process. When we consume the food, there is two levels of Paka. Paka is transformation due to heat. So there is a transformation that is happening. One at the Jatharagni level, okay? And then what happens is, the food is broken down to its constituent forms, and through the Vyana, one of the five Vayus, it is taken to the different organs, so that the organs may take what is required for them, and whatever is not required by the body is pushed out of the system. In detail, this process is described in Ayurveda. So Deha Pushti it's not common for all. That's the point. So what may be Poshana for one will not be for the other. So she ensures whatever is required for each being and whatever is required for each of the organs of the same person also. What about the mind? The mind requires contentment. If the body sustains on nourishment, the mind sustains on contentment. Because we find that when is the mind restless? Because the restless mind leads to all the other subsequent sins. In Gita, Bhagavan gives a beautiful step down. He says, from Kama, what is Kama? The desire to possess a particular object for one's own enjoyment. When that is not fulfilled, Kama sanjayate krodaha. It results in anger. And then anger results in a kind of an illusionment. That results in loss of memory in the sense loss of all the good and bad do's and don'ts that we have learned. So we forget that, and in the moment of haste we end up doing something which we normally regret later, and it all happens in a very, very quick succession. So the problem is in the very first stage, that is the mind not being happy or content. Similarly, when the mind is content, any amount of external stimuli doesn't disturb it. So for the mind, contentment is the most important element. So she is the contentment for the mind. Just as she is the nourishment for the sharira, she is contentment for the mind. So manastushtihi, tush, to be happy. Okay, so manastushtihi.
Then it is pushti rana, pushtir below balodata.
Okay, balodhata.
Balodhata. Pushtir balodvata.
Okay.
Dvata.
Data.
Pushtir balodhata.
It is rana pushti, right? I am not able to make out the meaning.
No, you are right. It is rana pushti. Pushtir balod data.
I think there is some mistake. Some scribal error is there.
I see. Okay.
It cannot be rana pushtihi. It has to be something else.
Oh.
I have also not checked on this.
Okay. Okay.
Could it be Anna Pushti?
Anna pushti.
I see.
Okay. Anna pushti. It should be double na.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, actually, there is a sarga here. Yes, yes.
Okay. So Anna pushtihi. So how does the nourishment for the sharira as well as for the manas come? Through anna, through the food. Because the food gives nourishment. At the same time, the quality of food decides the temperament of the mind also. That is why we insist on sattvika ahara. Now, this term sattvika ahara is very, very misunderstood today. So it is not that the Shastra is trying to impose upon a kind of food. If I can be explicit, it is not imposing vegetarianism on everyone. It means Sattvika Ahara is that which is resultant or which results in the kind of the Sattva. Sattva is, we have to understand the word. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. In that context, Sattva. Sattva also means the quality of mind. Okay, the nature of mind. So depending upon the profession of a person, one has to choose the kind of food. So there is no tailor-made recipe for everyone. So when we speak of Sattvika, that which is most suited for the temperament of that particular profession. Yes, obviously, when we classify, we have the kind of in Bhagavad Gita, we have in the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, we have what food are sattvic, what food are rajasic, what food are tamasic. So in this context, when we go and look at those food, that list, it will be very, very clear to us. So it's not imposing any one particular style of eating habit. Come what may, the food is very, very important for the kind of the mental makeup that we develop. So normally in our households, if we see, that is why the food from outside was never encouraged, at least 2 generations from now. So why? Because you never know with what mental makeup the person is cooking when we have the food outside. And in our houses, when the cooking was done, it was a kind of a sacred activity itself. The women folk would respect the kitchen as puja griha itself, worship the fire, and then start the process of cooking, normally chanting some devotional hymns, songs, verses, whatever. So that was the kind of the samskara that was being transferred upon to the food which is being cooked there. So anna is very, very important. It is through anna that the deha as well as the manas, okay, of a being is sustained clearly. So she is the pushti, the nourishment of the anna. So anna pushti. Balodhata, bala uddhata, one who is filled with power. Because what is the meaning of power? Here, power refers to the full expanse of Icha, Jnana, Kriya, Chit and Anand. So, in her full measure, she is these five powers which define our being. Therefore, she is Bala Uddhata. And later on, in the Srishti Krama, when the Srishti and all those things happens, she is responsible for the Kriyatmakata, the operations of the world. That is why in the Puranas we know the epithet which is the most common for Devi is Shakti. She is the power. Power in the sense, the one who ensures the operations. Without strength, without power, no operations can take place. So she is that which ensures this operation. And for even the Srishti itself to take place, that first spanda, the first movement was because of her. So she is Bala. So Bala Uddhata. I'm sorry.
Atha Dirvaidamata.
Aushadhi. Aushadhi.
Aushadhi. हाँ.
Aushadhi.
Oh, Aushadhi, sorry.
Medicine.
Aushadhi.
Aushadhi is understood as medicine. Okay. But not in the narrow sense that we use or we are now using the term medicine. We are normally calling the pills or syrups or injections as medicines. Whereas the word Aushadhi has a much larger connotation. So Aushadhi is that which helps not only in healing or repairing, but it is also that which helps in the development of a particular quality in one's sharira. And not only for physical sustenance, even for spiritual sustenance, aushadhis were used. So there is a prescription of Mani, Mantra, Aushadhi. Mani, gemstones. Mantra, we know. Aushadhi. So there were special herbs which were used to aid certain kind of spiritual practices, sadhanas. For example, there is mention in Paramananda Tantra of an Aushadhi by name Vijaya. So one has to learn about these only from a seasoned practitioner in a proper Guru Sampradaya. When used, they also aid in spiritual progress. How are they used and probably we will see in the next few namas wherein we have the. So can we stop here?
Yes, Shekharji, I know you have limited time today. Yes, we can stop here. Acha, pranam. Thank you.
Thank you, Shekharji. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, namaskar.
Namaskar.